everyone, and we are live. Live from you all the way from the Netherlands. So it'll be awesome if you can let me know in the chat where you're all tuning in from, and then we can just get on started. So just so you know, I'm looking at the camera over there, but right here I actually got my laptop and my iPad. I got a bunch of stuff prepared on my iPad as well, which we're going to go through. And right here, ta-da, ta-da, I got a whiteboard as well. Oops, camera's out of focus. There we go again. So at some point I'm gonna put that together as well, because we are gonna have a lot of fun today. But most importantly, which is the real reason why we're all here, camera focus, yes, thank you, is to help you grow your business faster, right? So when you look in the chat, we have people from all over the world, actually. We got Rod from Florida, Hannah from Michigan, USA. Oh my God, the people from the US, thank you, appreciate it, because for some people it must be early. We got someone from the Netherlands who's into NFTs, which is pretty cool. Linda from Johannesburg. We got another Dutchie, Wouter from Arnhem, Minnesota. And yes, this will be recorded. We got even from Thailand. Oh, love me some Thai food. From Ghana as well, all the way in Africa, which is awesome. AJ, Staxio, so out of focus. Yeah, right now we should be in focus, right? If it's not in focus, then Gorinchem. Arjan is from Gorinchem. That's literally where I'm from. Like, all right, not literally. Across my road, that was Gorinchem. I'm from Schellinen. So, hey, Arjan, definitely familiar with Gorinchem. Portugal, Croatia. Awesome. So, what we're going to do is I'm actually going to stream the things that I have here prepared on my iPad to get going. First of all, I want to go through a couple of things which will be good to know, and then we actually dive into it. Hey, Claudia from the Netherlands as well. Awesome. I didn't even mention everyone because there's only a lot of people, and it's awesome to have you all here. And yeah, with that, let me just stream my iPad once again, because we have a lot to go to, right? And first of all, I actually want to make sure that we're all clear, because yes, as you all know, we're live right here. Welcome to Monster Your List Growth. And as mentioned, this is a customer-only event. So even though we stream this through YouTube, please don't share this outside, or we do this just for our viral customers. And as mentioned in the email as well, our schedule for today is, and not just today, but this week, is going to be, it's a 3-day event. Today, we started at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which for me is 4 p.m. In the afternoon. And Wednesday and Thursday, we are going to start at the exact same time. So we're going to spread it out over 3 days. I'm not exactly sure how long it will be today and as of the rest of the day, but I envision today be probably the longest, because I got a lot of stuff I want to share with all of you. I want to teach all of you, and I'm going to break it out over a couple different days, as you will see, with plenty of room to ask me questions as well. And just a couple of for your infos for those who haven't seen me live. There's a couple of things that are good to know about me. And that, first of all, is that I'm a typical guy, which means that I'm the worst at multitasking. So if I seem to ignore your question, I'm not ignoring it. I'm just the worst multitasker in the world. Again, this is a live 3-day event, but I want to do more than just creating a 3-day event where you guys or you girls show up, because even though I really do appreciate that you're showing up all here, I also know there, like some of you will have to break off through a meeting, or you'll have to or maybe you can attend today and tomorrow, but not the last day, right? So everyone has their own, everyone is busy, right? And I totally get that. So what I did not want to do is to do this live event and then a couple of days after say like, hey, here's the recordings of the event. There you go. Because I know about you, but like, I just never watch those, right? Either I'm on the live event where there's like engagement and like it's fun and it's cool, or it ends up being on my to-watch list and I don't actually implement it and then I don't actually take action, which is not what I want, right? So instead, what I'm going to do, we're going to do this as a live event, but during this live event, I'll be, certain sections I'll be recording as if I'm recording a video, essentially. So there's going to be sections where I don't do any interaction with you guys and girls live here on here on YouTube, so that at the end, what we're going to do is my team, we're going to edit this professionally. So you're not just going to get a recording of this, like, hey, here's like day 1, day 2, day 3, but you'll get it in breakdowns exactly, like, so you can go straight to the section that is interesting for you, and it's well edited, so like the mistakes are out there and just doesn't take as much of your time, right? So when I record certain sections, as you'll see, I might not address you right live, and after I've done a section, and we're have the engagement again. All right. So that's what I wanted to have, make sure you all know as well. And also, I'll take new customers and existing customers into account, because some of you, like I already saw some of you who here in the chat, you've been with Viral for a long time, which I appreciate a lot. There's also people who just recently joined, and even though, you know, some of those might be like, oh, cool, this is exciting, but you might not know all the things and tricks in the trade that I have been sharing in the past. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to address both of you. There's going to be new things. There's also going to be a lot of, like, if you've been, you know, following us for like already a couple of years and you've been using this into your business, then obviously there's going to be things that you already know, right? But it's always good as a refresher anyway. And afterwards, we'll also send out, and if I mention any links or anything like that during the event, we'll send that to you afterwards as well, right? So in a follow-up email or something along those lines. All right. Now, let me know in the chat if that sounds good, and we'll get started with the actual content. All right. Yes, we'll be adding it into your Viral account. Or we can add your email. I'm not quite sure. I think we'll also put it into your account. If not, we'll definitely send all customers an email. So no worries on that. Let me just take a quick sip of water. By the way, isn't this the coolest water bottle ever? I'm not sure if you can actually see it. I'm not sure if you can see it. It's the Viral logo on the bottle, right? If you don't, you know, brand your own stuff. Actually, I got this as a gift from one of my friends. So. All right, let's go. All right, let's do it. So, camera out of focus again. Focus, please. There we go. My apologies for that. All right, so let's get started with the actual content, which is Monster Your List growth, right? So let's get started. As mentioned, welcome to Monster Your List growth. First of all, why are we actually here? Why are you here? Why am I here? And if you're watching this, if you're here, it means that you're hungry to grow your business, right? And I'm here because honestly, I've just, over the last couple of years, not just last couple of years, over quite a few years, I've been super duper passionate about online marketing and what it takes to grow a business, right? And because of that passion, I found that I want to help other businesses to grow their business faster as well using online marketing. And if that's you, if you want to grow your business faster, if you want to take your business to the next level, then you are in the right place. Because even though there's like a bazillion strategies to teach you, right? And there's like so many things you could do to grow your business. But the reality is a lot of those strategies are getting harder compared to just a few years ago, right? For example, paid ads, which I've always been a huge advocate of. Like, paid ads is a great way to grow your business, right? But it's getting harder and harder and more expensive over time. Organic, like SEO, right? It's same thing. Like, it's back in the day, I've leveraged it crazy. Like, I've always got a lot of SEO traffic, and it's always been an important channel for my business. But again, right now, it takes way more effort to get your sites to rank and to get a decent amount of traffic, right? So the reality is, like, even though there's a lot of different strategies, a lot of those strategies are also becoming harder and harder, because a lot of the power is given to just a few platforms, right? Like Google, you got Facebook, you got Amazon. Like, if you combine like the top 10 websites, you pretty much cover most of the, you know, what people go through online, right? So naturally, what happened is that Facebook people started focusing on things like, hey, I want to build up my Facebook Messenger list, right? Like, because that was all the craziness. That was, you know, people were like, hey, that's what's cool now. But obviously, like, whenever it's owned something by those platforms, like, for example, your Facebook Messenger list, like, Facebook still owns that, right? Facebook still owns that. And therefore, as expected, at some point, they're like, all right, the fun's over. You cannot send massive broadcasts anymore at an ongoing rate, unless you are going to pay for that again to send those messages, right? So for that reason, I've always been focused on building up my email list. Like, if you're watching this, then I'm pretty sure I've got your email list. I'm pretty sure I've been sending you emails, right? And if not, go check your inbox, unless of course you unsubscribe. But you're on my email list because that's something that I actually own, and that's something that that I know is leveraged into the future. It doesn't mean that I don't use other marketing strategies. Of course I do, but like getting people onto my email list is definitely a primary one, and that's one thing that we're going to focus on here as well. So more specifically, what we're going to focus on is to grow your email list and your business using what I call word of mouth on steroids, right? A way to get a lot of word of mouth into your business and get those people to sign up to your email list and then eventually become a customer as well. And this is not relying on any single big platform. Like, it doesn't matter if all of a sudden, Facebook would magically disappear, for example, because it's actually spread out about across all different channels, across all different platforms, so that one in particular doesn't, have all the power over all the others. And again, it builds you an audience that you actually own, which is your email list. And which is my personal favorite, is that it's actually stacked on top of each other. Like, this is not a strategy that I'm preaching here today, that like, hey, this is all you do, because that is not a business, right? This is something that you stack on top of other things. Like, you already do social media, awesome. You already run Facebook ads, even better. Like, if you already have your email list, better, right? Like, and this is something you add on top of it, in combination with what you already do, so you actually get extraordinary results, right? That sounds good and all, but what is it we're actually going to cover? And then we're going to dive into it into the next section. Firstly, I'm going to dive into the overall high-level strategy, right? I'm going to show you how this all works, what this actually is, but then more specifically, I'm going to give you 5 different action plans specifically for your situation. Because here's the thing, if you're watching this right now, chances are that, especially after the next section, you'll be like, awesome, this is great, but then you need to put it into practice. But I also know from all of you watching right now that someone is maybe, they're just getting started with their business. Someone else might have a book, they're an author. Someone else might be an e-commerce web store. Someone else might be in business to business. Should all of you use the exact same action plan? No, that'd be crazy. Like, every business is different, every situation is different, based on your business, based on your skills, based on your strength, based on the phase you're in. Like, where are you're about to start, you already have a lot of traffic, like, it all depends, right? And that's why I basically created 5 different action plans, 5 different campaigns to go for. And I'm gonna go through all these 5 separately, and I'll let you know which one I recommend for who. I'll let you know what steps to take to implement it. I'm gonna give you examples, I'm gonna give you some case studies, and then you can then, like, from all of these, what my goal is to, first of all, inspire you to take action and to add word of mouth, to use it as a marketing channel to your business. But also, secondly, I want to make sure that all of you feel like after you've gone through all these 5, you're like, this one, that's the one I need in my business. And then you implement it and you actually get the result. That's the plan, and that's what I'm going to cover next. I see a question right here. Can you discuss how to use how to do a B2B campaign instead of B2C, which is what most campaigns would be? Yes, I can. And actually, one of the campaign, like, again, I got 5 plans. One of those plans is going to be for B2B. That won't be today. That'll be, I think it's either tomorrow or the day after. If I don't know exactly the schedule top of mind, but yes, that will be part of this as well. I just got a message, focus issues on our side. I think if it's okay with it. And yes, on my end, it's actually clear. Fortunately, I'm also recording it in full HD. So the professional recording will be looking nice and sharp. All right. So with that, let's continue into the next section, which is word of mouth as a traffic channel, right? So what I want to talk about next is how to use word of mouth on steroids to actually grow your business. And the reality is that for what I hear and when I talk to people, is that most people actually do understand the value of word of mouth. WOM stands for word of mouth. I mean, 92% of consumers trust recommendations from friends above all other forms from advertising, which is true, right? If you get a recommendation from a friend to buy something, you're way more likely to actually go and buy instead of spending hours on the research and checking whatever is best, right? Also, 77% of consumers are more likely to buy a new product when learning about it from a friend. Again, that completely makes sense. And also the lifetime value of those customers who actually have been referred is on average 16% higher, right? And even though people do understand that, even though a lot of people know, yes, word of mouth would be great to have, very few actually have a good way of making sure you get that word of mouth into your business, right? For a lot of people, it's just being lucky and completely unpredictable, right? There's just some people who happen to talk about you, and that's pretty much it. And the first time I actually realized the power of word of mouth, and even more so how to gamify it, how to actually make sure you get a lot of word of mouth online, is actually quite a few years back, because that's when I released a super small project. What it was a page where you can create, where you can enter your name and email address in order to essentially get a lead gen, essentially get something for free. But instead of just saying like, hey, here you got it, like what I said, like, hey, enter your name and email address, right? On the next page, you would get that thing that I promised them. But then right below, I said like, hey, but I got this extra thing that you can get, something which was valuable as well. But the only way that you can actually get it is if you share a message with your friend. So you share it first, and then you would actually get that thing that, that to download that. And this is like years back. And I had no experience with any of this. And I never had people share my stuff. I'm not sure if you can relate, but like whenever I posted something or whenever I was blogging or whatever I was doing anything, not a lot of people would actually literally share that with their friends until I did this very thing, until I actually incentivized people and I gave them something of value in return for a share. So they had to share a message with their friends, which would link back to my website. And right after they actually shared it with their friends, they would then get something of value. They would get another lead magnet, something to download in that particular case. And what happened next was pretty amazing, because I didn't just get a couple shares. I got literally thousands of people sharing, which was, for me back then, was completely mind-blowing. This was the first time I realized that you can actually influence sharing, and you can actually incentivize people to start spreading the word around your business. And obviously, after that, we've been improving that process, because at that point, even though I got thousands of shares, I realized there was still something missing, because what happened is that a lot of people, they shared it and then they shared it on their Facebook page, but then they just shared the standard message, like the pre-written English message. If I see one of my Dutch friends sharing an English message, I already know like that's going to be, that's not him, right? Like that's just a marketing message. Also, people just shared it once, and some people even deleted the message right after, right? So that didn't truly help. And that's when I realized that there was a company who had figured this out, and that's Dropbox, right? And I'm sure you all know about this already if you're familiar with UpViral, but essentially what Dropbox did is they gave everyone their own unique invite link. And they said like, hey, here's your unique invite link. If you share that with your friends, we're automatically going to keep track how many people will sign up through your link. And here's the cool thing, that this simple link, what they did, it actually aligned the goals, because now their audience had the exact same goal as Dropbox had, to get their friends to actually sign up. And all those people then started doing that. They started trying to convince their friends to sign up as well. I remember one of my friends, he actually sent me a link of Dropbox, which is, if in case you're not familiar, it's a cloud backup space, or a cloud storage space is a better way to describe it. And one of my friends, he reached out to me like, hey, I know you're taking photos, right? This is a great way to back up your photos online. Right? So he didn't just send like a random message. He customized it towards me, because he knew me, and I wasn't into photography at the time. He knew that I was more likely to sign up. So he did most of the selling instead of Dropbox themselves, right? So after I realized that, I actually tried this as well. And then that's when I had my first big hit. After that, we had many others using what I call referral marketing, right? Using incentivized word of mouth. So inspired by Dropbox, I did an experiment where I did exactly that. People enter their name and email address first, and then right after they do that, they got their own unique invite link. And I told them like, hey, if you get 3 of your friends to sign up, then you will get access to this thing. And as a result of that, within the first 30 days or so, I collected 17,000 leads in the marketing space, which is considered to be an expensive market, right? Which is a very competitive market to grow your business in. So that was the first time when I really opened my eyes of what's truly possible. And yes, I will be sharing this as well in the following sections as well. So essentially that's the foundation of what this is all about. But what I'm going to do next is in 5 different sections, I'm going to cover what the action steps, what the action plans are for each of different types of businesses to implement this into your business as well, right? So the 5 sections that we're going to cover are a viral waiting list. We're going to give everything away on that. A viral product launch, which is slightly different, but way more profitable. A viral contest or viral sweepstake, however you want to call it. A viral milestone and a viral newsletter. Those are the 5 sections we're going to cover. Each of them will have detailed step-by-steps. We'll have examples and all that. So you have 5 different game plans, and then you can pick which one to go for. All right? So, are we still good? Let me know in the chat if we're still good, and then we will go and dive into the viral waiting list, which is the true section. Oops, I'm just prepping it on my iPad. Good. Good. Does anyone have that as well, where you have your like a laptop and you try to swipe it with your finger? Because I'm so used to working on my iPad, it's crazy how I don't know. Maybe it's just me, and then I'm just getting old. Could be as well. And with that, let's dive into the viral waiting list. All right. So first thing I want to go through is the viral waiting list. First of all, what is a viral waiting list? A viral waiting list is a way to quickly build up a waiting list to kickstart your soon-to-be business or product. And in order to explain it, I'm actually going to grab the whiteboard. And this is actually the first time that I experienced this myself, which was really cool. Was before I even launched a product. Like this is usually best used before you either launch your business or before you launch a new product or before you do a new promotion towards your product business in your business. And I'll dive into that more specifically in a bit. But essentially what the flow is that you create a page where you ask someone's name and email address. And after that, they go to the second page, right? And you incentivize people to, they get their unique invite link. You have your button for like share on Facebook or share on WhatsApp or share on Facebook Messenger, for example. But essentially what this is all about is that before you actually launch your business or before you launch a certain product, you're going to say like, hey, you want to get early access? And I'll give you examples in a bit. You're going to have early access to this particular thing and to your name and email address. So you're not just doing this for the sake of like getting your leads. You're actually building anticipation. You're building up people who are interested in that very thing that you're going to sell or that you're going to offer afterwards. And then right after they enter their name and email address, after they've shown interest, they said like, hey, yes, I'm interested in this particular thing. That's when you're going to give them an incentive to share. Ideally, and most common, early access to that very thing, right? So you could, for example, say, hey, there's a waiting list. It's not or it's only going live in like a month from now or like 3 weeks from now, but you can actually get immediate access. You can jump to a queue. You can skip waiting if you get, for example, 3 of your friends to share to sign up as well. They have to share that, right? And that's how you create the viral loop and how you create the actual waiting list. And the first time I actually did this, the first time I had implemented this, let me just go back to my iPad. There we go. I did this very thing. This was before I had a paid product. It was actually way back in the day. I created a simple WordPress plugin. I didn't create it myself. I hired someone to create it, and I did this very thing that I just described. Right? Enter your name and email address, and after that, you can share this with your friends if you want more. And at that time, I didn't know. Like this was before I even had a business. Right? This was way before. So after a while, I had a couple thousand email addresses. Right? I was like, wait a second. I should probably now actually create that thing, right? Like I should actually create that thing that I wasn't quite sure if I should invest in it or not. This is back in the day. And I pulled the trigger and I was like, hey, there's like thousands of people on the waiting list who are interested in this very thing that that they could then buy. Let's actually build the whole plugin. Let's hire someone, let's hire a development team to actually build it. And within the first, at some point I was ready with the tool. I sent out an email to all those people who were on the waiting list, like, hey, this tool is ready. And at that point, I did not know how to sell anything online. I was not like some properly written email. Essentially, the email said something along the lines of, hey, maybe if you want to, you can buy this thing, right? Very like, but you don't have to, right? And then from that single email, I made more than over $10,000 within the first 24 hours, which for me back then was mind blowing, right? I did not actually expect that. And the reason why this worked so well is because these were not just general leads or like random leads. Those were people who were interested in that very thing. Like, it's literally a waiting list. It actually builds anticipation for what is to come. And that's why why this campaign works so well for a lot of businesses, especially if you're early stage, or especially if you're about to launch something, right? So more specifically, who is this for, right? And as mentioned before, it's essentially for anyone who is about to launch a new business, a new project, or a new product, right? So if you're launching a new business, this is an obvious one, right? Like, if you're launching a new business and you're not doing a viral waiting list, you're literally missing out, because you can literally get that momentum rolling, get that buzz going, get the word of mouth in before your business is even live, right? Plus, you have then a way to kickstart your business. But even already, if you have a business, right? Let's say you have an e-commerce store, and let's say you've got a new product coming out, like a new fancy shoe for all I care, right? So why it would be a missed opportunity if all you would do is suddenly just say, like, on your Facebook or on your website, it's like, hey, we got a new product, here, go and buy it. Why don't you build up the anticipation, right? You create your viral waiting list. It's like, hey, we got this amazing new shoe coming out, and the first 20 people can actually get, or the first whatever many people can get one that's autographed by this particular person who's like maybe an advocate of your business, right? Again, I'm just talking out loud right now, thinking out loud right now. But by doing that, you build up the anticipation, you generate word of mouth, people sharing, right? And then once the product actually goes live, you can immediately send out an email like, hey, boom, it's now live. Go ahead and buy this product. All right. So just to make an example, here's an example of one of the campaigns I did in the past. This is quite a few years back, which is essentially also a viral waiting list. It's so this was for a tool that I was considering to create. We actually created it afterwards as well, which was Tweetly. It's not around anymore, but just as an example to show you what it could look like, right? The headline said one-click sign-up forms inside your tweet. So essentially, we just said, like, here's something that you can do with this particular product, and then enter your email address and to get early access, right? And then right after people enter their name and email address, we told them, like, hey, all right, thanks, you're now number whatever in the queue. Do you want to skip waiting and get instant free access? Get 5 of your friends to sign up with this unique URL. And by doing this particular thing, people shared it everywhere. Like it was literally nuts. We got, as mentioned before, over 17,000 leads within the first 30 days or so, all from this particular campaign. Right? So this is like what it could look like. Again, super basic page, but this is a good way to kickstart your business. Now, I want to dive a little bit deeper and go into how to actually do this, right? Because there's actually a plan to it, which I want to go into, right? And in summary, it's, first of all, this is the most important part, is plan what you're going to give away. Whatever it is you're going to give away is going to be the most important factor, right? Because it's gonna decide whether people are actually interested in this, whether people are going to opt in, and whether people are willing to share for it. So we're gonna go into that in a little bit as well. And then once you've decided that, that's when we can actually create your campaign inside of Vyral. First of all, you create your opt-in page, you create your share page. I want to share some insights on how to optimize that, and then we can actually promote it. All right. So first of all, what should you be giving away for a viral giveaway, for a viral waiting list? First of all, whatever you give away should be perceived as valuable. And my rule of thumb is, if you're coming up with something that you could give away, or people could get if they share with their friends, if you were to sell that very same thing and people would not be willing to pay for it, then it's not valuable enough, right? So that's really, like, if you're just gonna say, like, hey, I've got this thing that nobody wants, but you can get it for free if you share, like, that's not gonna cut it, right? So my rule of thumb is, like, just imagine you would be selling something, right? So let's say you got a new book coming out, right? And let's say you got a new book coming out, you're an author, and you're like, hey, before I'm actually going to publish the book, what I'm going to do is you're going to enter your name and email address, and then if you share, and then your friends will sign up as well, you will get the first chapter for free. That's not going to cut it, because no one's going to pay for just the first chapter of your book. What would be a better solution is if you say like, hey, before your book even goes live, you create your page, and you say, first of all, like, hey, you want to get the first free chapter of our book for free, right? People enter the name and email address. What you then do is you actually give them the first chapter for free to everyone, right? Because again, we're not just doing this to get a bunch of random leads. We want to build up anticipation and goodwill for your business as well. But on top of that, you can say like, hey, you can download your first chapter here. But on top of that, if you get 3 of your friends to do the same thing, if you get 3 of your friends to also download the first chapter, guess what? We're going to give you the book. We're going to send you the book for free, right? Or like a PDF version of the book for free before anyone else, before it even goes live, right? Because at that point, like, that's literally something people would pay for. They get the whole book for free. Plus, they get it before the market does. They get it before everyone else does. And that makes them feel special, right? And that's how you, or maybe not the full book, or maybe like the first 5 chapters, for example, right? But you get the point, I'm assuming. So whatever it is, it should be perceived as valuable. And also, please know that you don't need to have it ready just yet, right? Some people go into this mode of like, I want to make it perfect. I'm going to plan of like the pre-launch campaign. And before even the pre-launch campaign goes live, I need to have that freebie ready. No, that doesn't have to be the case. Just in the example I showed before, we didn't have the tool ready yet. We're literally building it as we speak. But while building it, we created this pre-launch campaign so that we could, first of all, gather whether people are actually interested. We actually get what people are saying about it, so we can learn from that as well. And then by the time we're ready, we have a list to actually send people access, right? So it's always good, instead of going for like trying to do it perfect, go fast and launch your campaign early. So a couple of examples of what you could give away, right? So let's say you are creating a tool or like some piece of software, you could give away early access, right? To a certain amount of people who join your campaign. You could give early access to a new product, like a unique pair of shoes, like a limited edition, for example. That's something that people might want. You could give away early access to a new book signed by the author, right? So that makes it more exclusive, makes it like even more valuable if it's like signed by the actual author, or even like a special deal coming up. Like, for example, what various marketers do as well is like before a special promotion comes up, like for example Black Friday, in the period before that, you could actually sign up for the notification list, like, hey, we have this special deal coming up, into an email list, and you'll be the first to know. And then after people join, guess what? You can then give them an incentive where it's like, hey, awesome, you're now on the list. If you share it with your friends and they sign up as well, you will get something else of value. For example, an even bigger discount, or maybe like, hey, if you share this, we will send you a freebie or something like that as well on top of it, right? So another thing you need to decide is not just like what you're going to give away, right? But also who is going to get it. What I mean with that is everyone going to get it as soon as they unlock, for example, 3 friends. Because if you're doing that, if we're saying like, hey, everyone who would go through this and they would at least invite 3 friends back to you, right? If all of those people would get that freebie, that means that your freebie has to be free to you, right? Because if you have to, like, let's say you would say, hey, you would get a physical book in the mail, we'll send it to you. A physical book is never free. It costs you money, right? So if you want to do that, and everyone who gets to the 3 level, you would send a book, like, it could become very costly. Obviously, it's an awesome strategy, but I prefer to, if that is the case, then it should be a digital freebie, like something that doesn't add any cost to you. Alternatively, you could say, all right, I'm actually going to limit it to a certain amount of people, right? So you're going to say like, hey, to the first 100, for example, right? Or whoever shares the most. Like, if you're doing it like that, sure, it could be a paid product, like where you actually have to pay. but my recommendation is that if you want to have it for everyone who has shared something, I would recommend a free freebie, which is free for you, but again, valuable to them. All right. Once you've then got a clear picture or a better picture of what it is you're going to give away, then obviously it's time to create your opt-in page, like essentially the page using a viral that people will enter in the name and email address with. And in terms of what to put on that page, and we're going to go into like the bells and whistles in a bit, but like what to put on that page is that, first of all, you sell the thing that you'd be able to give away, right? So what I mean with that is that on this very page right here, you actually communicate and you try to convince people that that's the thing they actually want, right? Because you want to build up anticipation. You don't just want to say like, yeah, you can get early access to whatever, right? No, you want to actually be persuasive, as if you're selling it, not in a salesy way, not in a spammy way, but in a persuasive way where people get what it is that you're trying to sell, right? Sometimes people get too hung up into describing it in a way that only they would get, but if an outsider would read it, they would have no clue what it actually is, right? So it's very important to get your message right. And I know this is more of a marketing thing, but that's, so for example, and there's the headline, you could just say something like, get early access to XYZ, as long as XYZ is clear to everyone what that actually is, right? I mean, if I were to say, before I showed you an example of a tool called Tweetlead, if I would have said, hey, get early access to Tweetlead, guess who would have signed up to that? Zero, because no one knows what Tweetlead is, and therefore no one really cares, and therefore no one would actually sign up, except for the random few who are like, what is Tweetlead? And they do the research, and then they go for, then they might be interested. But that's the reason why we didn't say that. Instead, we said one-click sign-up forms inside your tweets. That's what it did at the time. Again, this doesn't exist anymore. Twitter has changed their platform on this. But back in the day, you could collect email leads from inside Twitter, which was new at the time. So that was the actual result people got from it, and that was something that grabbed their attention. So an example of what you could use as a headline is essentially a bold headline of the problem that your product will solve or why it's unique, right? This is not just specifically for this type of campaign. This is a marketing one-on-one, right? So for example, let's say you would have a tool to manage your time better. You wouldn't say like, hey, get early access to a time management tool, because that's boring. But perhaps you would say something along the lines of never be late for a meeting again, right? Like, what's the actual promise that you're making to the market with your product, right? This is really like how you position your actual product that you're going to sell. Or for inspiration, you could also share what happens once they get it, right? So if you're thinking like, oh, but I'm gonna like I'm gonna do an early launch for a new shoe, right? And that's not sexy, like get an early invite to a new shoe. No, that might not be sexy, but what happens to that person? Because the person isn't really just buying the shoe, right? They do it for like maybe status or like, you know, being seen or whatever it is, right? So for example, your headline could be something along the lines of like, everyone will ask where you got them. Like, and then there's a picture of the shoes and then like get early access, right? Because then all of a sudden, it's not just about the shoe, it's raising their status amongst their peers, right? Again, these are just examples, and this is more of a marketing thing. But my real point being is like on the opt-in page that I'm talking about here, you'll want to really build anticipation for the actual product you are going to sell, right? Super duper important. And then right below that, you have the opt-in form along with ideally something along a call to action along the lines of get early access, right? So that you actually make clear that they get early access to that very thing. And also, ideally on that very page, you provide more context on your product, right? So even if you have like a headline, like for example, everyone will ask where you got them, right? And then there's maybe a picture of a shoe, so they know exactly, like it would immediately they know what it's all about. And then like there's an email form and along with the button, get early access, right? But ideally like that of course will get part of the audience, but you want to do more than that. Right below, what my recommendation is to provide more context on your actual product, whatever it is that you're going to sell. So for example, an image, right? Like if it doesn't fit on the top, right below you'll have an image, but also like to tell more about why this is so amazing, right? Maybe in case of the shoe, you could say, you could share the story of what got you into buying this shoe, because it's there's certain materials used which is better for the world, and whatever your story is, like add more to that so that people who want to keep on scrolling, who like see that first headline, and those who are not perceived right away, they want to have more information, and right below there's more information. There could be like social proof, people who've already tested your product, or like, and they said something like, wow, these are the best shoes ever, with a name and a face, just to add that. Because again, we're not just going for the leads, we're going to build up anticipation, to get people excited about it, right? And then when people actually opt in, they enter their name and email address, or just their email address. That's when they go to the actual share page, where we want to give them an incentive to share with their friends, right? First of all, the main thing always good to do is like confirm with people that they are actually on the waiting list, right? Because people are just enter their name and email address. They're like, hey, how do I get early access? Ooh, I dropped something. To confirm that they're on the waiting list, and then tell them to invite others to get early access. Like, and my recommendation is to let them invite between 3 to 5 people. I've seen people go for like, hey, you need to invite 10 people, but for most people, 10 people is just too much. It's really hard to get 10 of your friends to sign up. Also, because ideally you don't want them to just massively spam everyone and get, all kinds of random leads on your campaign. Ideally, you want to incentivize your audience to selectively invite those friends who are going to be interested, who are also interested or potentially interested in the shoes that you're selling, right? If I were to send that to my 6-year-old niece, she's gonna maybe enter email address, but she's not gonna be actually interested, right? So by keeping the number limited to like 3 to 5 people, that's usually what like the sweet spot is. What's still doable, but will get you what's enough to start getting you some traction. And ideally, you keep on selling the thing that they actually can get. So on that second page, you don't just say like, hey, invite your friends, because remember, like people have just opted in, right? People are in a hurry. Imagine they're like they see a message from Facebook. For example, they say like, hey, you're access to the shoes. Yeah, oh, I want that. I'll enter my emails. And then on this page, and again, they're like thinking in their mind, like, all right, so where am I? What's happening? In their mind, they're going through a quick mental process of like, I can invite my friends. And they're like, what was it again, right? So again, at that point, they need to be persuaded even more that they really want to have that thing. So on that page, my recommendation is to once again mention what your actual product is. Like if, for example, you are doing early bird to a piece of software, then you share a screenshot or some screenshots, or maybe social proof, which adds to the value. Like, oh yeah, like I really want to have this thing. Again, I really want to have this thing. All right, so then I should actually probably share this with my friends, right? So we really want to build up the anticipation. And even if they don't do that, even if they don't actually share that with their friends, you just want to build that into their brain, like on this page, and then on the second page as well. You want to get them to be as familiar as possible with that product. You want them to understand why that's something that they should actually have, so that once you're then ready, like once your product is actually ready, you can then promote your product towards the email list that you collected using this campaign. All right. And that obviously brings me to the fourth point, which is once this whole campaign is ready, you need to obviously promote it, right? And in other sections, I'll be going a little bit deeper into how to promote. But essentially, especially if you're early stage, like what this campaign is mostly about, if you're early stage, you're about to launch your business, you might not have a lot of reach to get the word out. So my recommendation is in that case to really focus on the things that you already have. Like if you do have a social following, share it there. If you do have an email list, share it there. If you have experience in something, like for example, Facebook ads, start with that. I would always recommend to start out with your strengths or the things that you already have, rather than me recommending to you like, hey, you definitely need to run Facebook ads towards this, because it might be that Facebook ads is something you've never done before, and then you're gonna delay this campaign. You're just gonna learning to use Facebook ads as an excuse instead of launching this campaign. So what I would do, launch the campaign, and whatever you already have done in the past, like if you've done guest blogging. Maybe you write a guest blog post somewhere. If you've got social media accounts like on Facebook or LinkedIn, whatever, post it there. Like, do whatever you have to do to get initial people in, because then while you're working towards launching your actual product, you can then keep on promoting this. Like, whenever people ask you, like, what are you working on? This, and then over time you just add your waiting list. You build up your waiting list, so that by the time you're ready to launch your product, you can then send an email out to this list of people. All right. So a couple tips I want to give as well for this particular campaign is that, first of all, I would always time it right. Like, I don't launch it too early, right? So let's say you're launching a new business like 6 months from now, then most likely that's going to be too early, because whoever signs up to a campaign right now, they're not going to remember who you are in like 6 months. I've seen that happen as well. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, I get an email like, hey, we're ready. It's finally live. And it's like, who are they again? So ideally, you don't do it too early. So maybe like 2 months in advance is still okay, but I would definitely not do it longer than that. But ideally, like definitely the last month before you go live, that's when you put a lot of pressure on this campaign. So you build a lot of excitement in the market. And then once you go live, people know you, they are aware of what it is you have. You can then immediately put your product in front of those people. And also don't launch it too late, obviously, because if you do it like a week from before, I'll do this, and then we're going to go live with the actual product launch, then you'll be distracted. I've seen it happen as well, where people like just quickly did that, but they never really put any effort into it. So this didn't really get any traction, because a few days later, they already had like, hey, the product is live, and they put all the effort on that, right? Another tip to do is to also encourage competition. So in case you are doing this particular campaign, something that you can do using a viral as well. For example, on this page, you could also add a leaderboard, right? So you can say like, hey, plus on top of all this, whoever gets most people to share, to invite, you will get, and then maybe you have a grand prize. Maybe that's something that will cost you money or even your time. Then if actually win, if they're the number one person. So you can add a little bit of gamification as an extra motivation to make it fun, engaging, and get people to share more. All right. Something that's good to know as well is that there's actually a couple templates inside a viral to use for this particular thing as an example. So if you create your campaign inside of viral, you would see this overview right here, and we'll be adding more templates over time. So later on, there will be more options to choose from. But right now, there's two templates that actually are focused towards this particular thing, right? One is the product release, and the other one is promotion pre-sale. So for the product release, there's an example page which you can use as as a source of inspiration. You can just create your campaign from a template, and then just modify it towards your need. But that way, you have better, a more clearly defined view of like what could it look like, and it's going to make it easier to create your campaign. Plus, all the emails are added in. A lot of things are already added in. So again, it's easier to get started from that. For example, this one right here is. This is one of the templates. Again, if you create your campaign, this is what it would look like, as well as a share page as well. And then for the second one, the promotion pre-sale, if you select that one in the bottom right now, then you would create this campaign right here, which would be a Black Friday waiting list. As I mentioned before, if you're doing a special promotion, to create a waiting list for that special promotion. So you can take that template as well as a source of inspiration. And whenever you have a special offer coming up or a special discount coming up, run this in the period before to build that waiting list and to get people excited about what's to come, to increase conversions, while at the same time driving word of mouth into your business. All right. So with that, before I go into the next one, because I've been talking a lot, I haven't really looked at the chat. So let me know in the chat, please, if there's any questions about this particular section so far. Because that way I can get a bit of a sense of the room that we are all in. Again, this is just one of the strategies. And again, if you've been part of, we've been following us for a while, then you're probably already familiar, but maybe you're like, oh, damn it, I knew about it, but I should have done, like, I should actually do that whenever I have a new promotion coming up or whenever I have a new product coming up. So this is MindNode. This is my favorite mind map tool. Works on iPad, works on iPhone, works on Mac. I'm a Mac boy, Mac fanboy. MindNote works really well. See, Sean. Let's see. And by the way, all of our viral customers will get the mind map that I have here as well. We'll be sending it out via email afterwards, or wherever we share. But we'll share that, and you can just go through it, and you can open things. You'll actually get the interactive mind map after the whole event is ready. So you can go straight into the sections that you would like to see. All right. Let me just check. Cool. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Any questions? All right. Thank you, Ryan. Good to know. There's two reasons probably. I've heard that for some people it's a bit blurry, although here it's sharp, plus my handwriting is terrible. The good thing is that whatever is written here is not really as important. Plus, if you do want to check it, I'm actually recording everything in HD. So on the recordings will be professional edited. It will look way better. All right. All right, good question. Do you validate what you do, what you launch before creating a campaign? If so, how? No, actually, I do not. In that sense, this campaign is my validation, right? This literally is my part, because I've also had pre-launch campaigns or viral waiting lists where I was like really excited about an idea, right? And I created this campaign, and it was crickets. People like did not even opt in. Like when I sent people to the opt-in page, people did not want to go for it. Like people didn't want to opt in, and even if they did, they didn't share for it. And I was like, huh. So apparently they must really not want it, right? And that's why I also mentioned before is that I highly recommend to do this particular campaign before you've created your whole product ready, because this is actually a way of validation as well. And if it all works out, you validated your idea, plus you get people ready who are waiting to kickstart your idea. So I do not validate before. That's really based on experience, a hunch, my excitement as an entrepreneur, as we all have. Huh? I hope that answers your question. So would you see this working with a SaaS where there's a monthly fee after, say, a free trial for people who share? So good question, Jeff. So the way I see it, especially if you want to incentivize people to share with their friends, there's like for me as a, let's say you run your campaign, right? And I were to join, I enter my name, that's because you say like, hey, you solve a certain problem I have, right? Doesn't matter what your SaaS is, but I enter my name and email address. And then for me to essentially bother my friends, right, to go to the problem of like, hey, who's also interested in this, and to send in that link, it's something that I really want to have, right? Like I'm like, this is really great, right? And usually it's not so much of like the value, how much it is, but also like in terms of status, like something that's like just super cool, like how really like this is geeking me out, I want to have this, right? So like getting earlier access, that would push my buttons. Getting earlier access before anyone else could, that would push my buttons, right? Definitely. But what if all I would get, like if I would get a free trial into something that other customers might be paying for, then I probably wouldn't share just to get a free trial, because my mind is already wired at like a lot of SaaS tools have free trials, if you know what I mean, right? So my point being is like, if for people to really start inviting their friends, it has to be really perceived as valuable. And customers and people are smart, right? Like you can't trick them like, you get a free trial, and that like people, they need to really get something of true value. So there's obviously ways how you could do that. If you're talking about giving away your SaaS, like one good thing could be to maybe you have something that is, that you could give away, which is not your SaaS itself, but it speaks to the same audience, right? Maybe it is, you have a certain different, like, I don't know, like a small little tool that you can just give away as a free tool, right? But the only way, like, if once people start using that, they realize like, holy, like I need to have the whole thing, right? And that's it, because then you can give away something actually for free. It's like, wow, and I don't have to pay for it afterwards. That's like, wow, right? And it's not just that people start sharing, but if you do that and you give that away for free, you also create that wow experience, and that's what you want. Because again, we don't just want a bunch of leads for whatever reason, you want people to build, you want to build the anticipation for them to become our actual good customer, right? And you're not doing that with, you want to wow them essentially. So hopefully that gives you a bit of a better idea, Jeff. What about an information video? Well, actually, that's actually something in the next strategy, which I'm going to go into, that's going to cover that answer in more detail. If you're good with videos, there's a slight modification of the viral waiting list, which I call the viral product launch. Slightly different, but also very different. And first time I used that, it actually resulted in $1.3 million in 7 days. Like that sounds like BS or something to brag, but you'll see when you see it. I'm going to cover that in just a little bit. So Joseph, stay with me for just a little bit. So when people invite people, can we gamify by getting them to share for extra points too? So yes, that's actually a good question. So just to be clear, where's my drop my marker? Is there focus? Yeah. So when people opt in here, right, and then they go to that page and they incentivize their friends, to be clear, their friends go to the first page as well. So then when they enter their name and email address, they would then also get the incentive to start sharing. So it goes into a loop. So that's why once you have people sharing, like then those people will share as well, etc. Right? So that will automatically that's automatically the case when you are using a viral. Let's see. Just looking if I missed any questions. All of a sudden my chat is looking a bit weird. So my apologies if I missed any questions. Should not be the case. So with that, I'm actually going to go into, and just so you know, again, it's a 3-day event, today, tomorrow, and the day after. And the last day, there's way more room for more questions. So if I miss any questions or anything, plenty of time to help all of you personally as well. So just so you know. But what I actually want to go, because the one thing that fits perfectly into what we just spoke about is what I call the viral product launch. And this is something that I'm extremely passionate about, which actually is really good for those who are into SaaS as well. I'm going to share an example, which is specifically about SaaS. But this one requires more marketing skills. So this is where I just shared was a good strategy for those who are basically starting out, right? This one is definitely for those who are more marketing savvy. But it is when done right, it can be extremely profitable. All right. So with that, let's dive into the viral product launch. And as mentioned before, I'm going to record it as if I'm recording a video so that it can be properly edited. So if I repeat anything, my apologies, but that's how we're going to roll with it. All right. So with that, let's just dive. Let me just take a quick sip of water. So one of the campaigns that I'm probably most excited about is what I call a viral product launch. This is something that I've used in my business multiple times over, and every time it's been extremely profitable. So what is this actually? What is a viral product launch, and how does this differ compared to a viral waiting list? Well, first of all, this strategy, this particular action plan is a way to launch your business even if you don't have an audience yet. So if you are about to launch your business, especially if you're selling a product between, let's say, $200 and $1,000-ish, whether that's one time or yearly, doesn't really matter, but around that price mark, then this is going to be a really good strategy. So essentially, it's Jeff Walker's product launch formula. I call it 2.0. So Jeff Walker, he's a marketer in the marketing space, and he got really famous for a particular type of product launch. What he did in this particular case, this so far has nothing to do with viral marketing. I'll get to that in a little bit. What he did is, before actually launching a product, before actually selling your product, you're not just going to say like, hey, we're going to put a sales page online or an offer online and then tell the world, hey, buy my product, right? Because that's not how the world works. Instead, what he did, he has a very clever way of dripping out valuable videos to the marketplace And then by getting people to watch your videos, they understand, first of all, what the opportunity is, like what the problem is that your product solves. They believe it, they understand it, they get value from it. He's very smart in like getting people to actually get to the point of being ready to buy our product. So in summary, he would basically send, I don't even have to draw it out. He would have 3 videos before your actual sales event. So instead of saying like, hey, buy this thing, first of all, he would drip out a video like, hey, and I'll go into what to say in each video. He would say like, hey, here's the first video, a couple of days later, second video, and then a third video. And then by the time people have watched all those videos, people are really excited. And that's when the actual product launch goes live. Here's the problem with this strategy is that this by definition requires to have traffic, right? So let's say this is too small. So let's say you would create, just like Jeff did it, you would create a page where people can enter the name and email address, and then after that, you get into a page where there's a video, right? And after a couple of days, there's like a second video or a third video. But and then only after all those videos have been released, only after that, let me just go like that. Only after that, all those videos have been released, he's being into promotion where you actually sell your product. The problem is you need to drive traffic into this page, otherwise no one's going to see that, right? So a couple years back, what I did when I was launching my previous business, Connectio, what I did is I basically followed his model, except for one critical difference, right? People enter the name and email address to get a certain section of videos to get people aware of like the thing that we were about to launch. But I didn't just create 3 videos. I actually created 4 videos. However, the 4th one was what I call a hidden video. There was an extra strategy, and I'm going to go into this in more detail, but essentially it was something that I was able to give away for free to certain people, right? Something that people really wanted, something that was valuable to the market. But you guessed it, the only way to get access to this extra freebie, in this case a video, was to actually have, to invite your friends. So like below these videos, it was like a unique invite link that people could share with their friends. Like, hey, if you share with your friends, and obviously like a button for Facebook and WhatsApp and whatever buttons there were, Facebook Messenger, etc. But essentially, a way for everyone to share that with their friends, to also get people added to this opt-in page as well, like signed up to this opt-in page. So what ended up happening was, during this product launch, what I did is people could enter their name and email address, and then I had this first video, which was valuable, right? It was not something like a sales message. I was actually teaching people things. In this particular case, this was about Facebook ads. This was for a software as a service inside the Facebook ads industry. And after, like, in that video, provided value, and somewhere along the end of the video, I then told people like, hey, you know what? But I actually got this, I found out this amazing strategy that I think you should know about. But what I'm going to do is, like, I can't give it to everyone, but I give it to everyone who it gets at least 3 people to watch this particular video as well. Like, if you share this with your friends, 3 of your friends sign up, right? And then from that first video, sure, people started sharing, right? But here's the cool part. Once people watch that first video, 2 days later, the second video came out. And again, I'm going to provide more value, build up more trust. And again, at the end of the video, I'm going to say it again. Hey, by the way, if you haven't shared yet, maybe you've shared, but you haven't actually got 3 people to subscribe yet, share it again today, right? So you get over that threshold. And boom, people started sharing it again. And the thing that happened afterwards was really, really cool, because I didn't just get extra lead because of it, right? But the whole purpose of a viral product launch formula is not just to get more leads, but it's to build huge anticipation and buzz in the marketplace. And the thing is, when people start sharing things online, it actually strengthens each other. For example, one of the strategies that we used back then was to get affiliates, like partners, to promote our product. So we had partnerships and affiliates who were able to promote our product, right, for a certain commission. So if they would have sent their customers towards our sales page, they would get a commission, right? And even that is a marketing game. It's how do you get affiliates to know about your product and know about your product launch and be excited enough to actually start sharing, right? And because we had this whole viral launch product formula in place, what ended up happening was people opted in, they saw the video, or maybe the second video. At some point, they decided to share, and they were going to invite other people who are interested into Facebook ads, because that's what this was actually about. So naturally, like, they probably reached out to some of their friends, shared it maybe on their personal profile, but also quite a few people started sharing it in all kinds of Facebook groups where they knew a lot of Facebook advertisers were in, because again, they have the incentive, they wanted to have the freebie. So they're like, how do I get people who are interested in this? How do I get 3 people to subscribe? Because we have aligned the goals, because they have their own unique invite link. And because they started sharing that in all these different Facebook groups, I then had affiliates reaching out to me, right, to us. So like, hey, all of my customers, all my people in my Facebook group, they're talking about your product launch, which is coming up. What's going on? Can I promote you? Can I help out? There's a buzz going on. What's happening? Can I join this? Right? So because of that, we got a lot more affiliates as well. Not because of this one particular thing, but because of this viral product launch, it just created the buzz. And people who were inside the Facebook ads groups, they saw these different posts. And guess what's happening afterwards? Like when the sales page went live, we had different outcomes of this whole strategy. We had the people who've watched the videos, right, who were essentially primed to, they knew like, hey, I really want to have this product, I'm gonna be ready to buy. We also have people who did not watch any of those, who did not even opt in, right? Sure, but they did see messages in the week prior, the days prior. So when we then run ads to people and they suddenly see like, hey, I saw 3 people share that in the Facebook group this week, and all of a sudden I see this ad, all right, there must be something here. Like, so we have that going for us. Plus, we got a lot more affiliates who then promoted this as well. So it all added up. And that's actually, this very launch, the way we structured it like this, has been the biggest launch to date, where we actually had over $1.3 million in revenue within the first 7 days. And I say 7, but I think it was like 5 or 6, but 7 to make it easy, because of this viral launch formula, right? And that's essentially what this particular strategy is all about. Now, this strategy, though, is not particularly easy. This is definitely something that requires a higher level of marketing skill set, because it does involve creating videos. Now, don't let that stop you, though, because the worst thing you can do is like go for like, I want to have it perfect and then have no action. Like I always say, perfect inaction is way worse than imperfect action. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but just so you know, this strategy does take at least more time. And if you're completely new to this, you'll definitely have to learn a couple of skills to make this a reality. But I can tell you, all the skills that you have to learn along the way are going to be super valuable to you over the course of your marketing career, or like growing your business, which is going to require marketing, right? And this is ideally for those who are launching a new business or a new product that I would say cost between $100 and let's say $2,000. Reason why that is, why I say between 100 and 2,000, is because if you're selling something cheaper, let's say for $50, then it's not always worth it to go through that much effort and like have all the videos, because for $50 or for $20, people don't need to have all that education, they just buy, right? A reason why I say up to $2,000 is because this is something that like I've optimized towards buying stuff online, right? And in my experience, people pay online for like up to $2,000 is fine. Above that, usually there's like phone sales involved, but it definitely could be used higher. That I've seen this being used, like the regular product launch formula being used for higher price products. So it could be higher than 2,000, but I would start at around a $100 product pricing mark in order to do this, right? So as an example, this was the actual campaign that we did for Connectio when we first launched it. So right here, you're looking at the opt-in page, the top image right here. I'm not sure if I can zoom it in. Can I? There we go, slightly. So essentially, the opt-in page was all about making clear that people would sign up to get that particular video training, right? And it was not about, hey, I'm going to show you a video about Facebook ads, because no one wants a video about Facebook ads. What people want is a certain outcome, is a certain result, right? So in this case, there was a new opportunity on Facebook to get leads from lead ads, which wasn't which wasn't available before, which is a brand new thing. So by saying, let me show you how to quote unquote smuggle leads from Facebook easily, along with the title 2-click signups from Facebook Impossible Think Again, that was a new opportunity at that time. The market was like, wait a second, is this possible? Like, how is this possible? This is not possible, right? And then get access to our video trading for free. So that was it, like super basic, to get people to enter their name and email address. And then right after they actually opted in, they would get the actual video of like where I actually taught them something, like in this case, how to secretly collect email subscribers on Facebook. And I told them on the right, like unlock a hidden strategy, as you can see on the right-hand side. So share this video with your friends to get my secret video on how to use lead ads for free. And I had this text right below. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Step 1, share with your friends. Once you invited 3 of your friends to watch this video, you'll receive our bonus video for free. The video shows you how to post Facebook lead ads on any Facebook ads for free, quote unquote, no ads. They'll spread organically just like any other post, making this the most effective way to collect leads on Facebook today. So again, this was a strategy that was working back then. But you can see exactly, like we're very, like in a short amount of text, like we don't make it a long essay. We explain clearly what people need to do, right? We explain clearly that they have to invite 3 of their friends. And also I explain them what it is they will be able to do with that video. I'm not saying like, hey, we have a hidden secret video, share with your friends and you'll get it. Because people will be like, well, but I don't need a hidden video. Like, I just want to get results. So by making it about the actual results they're going to get, in this case, how to post Facebook lead ads on any Facebook page for free, that's like, oh yeah, like I want to know that. Like, how do you do that? Because at the time, no one knew. There was a new strategy. No one had a clue. So like, how does this guy have figured that out? I want to know what he knows. And I'm going to invite my friends. And the reason why this works so well is because I'm not just asking that for like, to nobodies, right? You remember, like people opt in first, right? Then they watch this video, right? And this was I don't remember the exact length, but like, let's say it's a 10-minute video. So during those 10 minutes, I build up a little bit of a connection, right? I provide value. I establish that this is not something scammy. I establish that like, this is actually valuable. This is actually good stuff. So at that point, it lowers the barrier of sharing with their friends. But like, if this is something that was like super lame and just, salesy or whatever, they probably wouldn't have shared. But by providing value, it's like, like some people might even have shared this with friends for the sake of like, wow, this is really good information. You should know about this. But then by adding this, it becomes a no-brainer, right? And then right below, they would have their link and they can share it back then on Facebook, Twitter, and email. And that's like an actual example of how this can be used. And this particular one, like I said, generated right after I had this particular campaign live. And then we went for the sales page. From that point on, when we started selling, we did $1.3 million in sales, which at least shows that it is kind of working, all right? So how do you actually do this? Because there's definitely a couple of steps involved, and I want to go pretty much in depth with you guys as well, so you know exactly what to say in those videos as well. So the first step is very important towards this, and this is obviously going outside of the realm of just going viral or generating word of mouth. This is really about marketing 101, which is all about your positioning, right? So the first step you need to figure out is what is going to be your product positioning. Whatever you are planning to sell or whatever you're planning to launch, how are you going to position that in the market, right? How are you going to explain to people what the new opportunity is, right? Because this is crucial to anything you do in marketing. If I would have said like, hey, we get a new Facebook ads tool, it would have been crickets. But because I spoke about something that was new in the market that didn't exist before, and I positioned it as like a new opportunity, all of a sudden it got a lot of attention, right? And I know that this is not something that's easy in case you're new to marketing. It definitely takes practice to get an idea of like what it takes to get people to really like, wow, like this is something I need to have. But that's definitely something that's worth it to invest the time and your time into that to make that, to position your product properly, essentially. So once you figured out how to position your product, how to position your product, and by the way, a quick tip on that: when I say a new opportunity, I know I'm going left and right now. When I talk about a new opportunity, what I mean is like, how do you present your product as a so that it's not what I call an ER product. A lot of people explain a product as an ER product. What do I mean with that? If let's say you are selling a web host, you could be saying like, hey, I'm a faster version than this, I'm a better version than that. Like that's an ER. Whenever it ends at ER, it's an improvement offer, right? And if anything is an improvement offer, if there's a better way to do something else, to do something that customers already do, people are not going to change their behavior, right? If someone is, I don't know, have a car and your car is slightly faster, right? It's an improvement, then it's not going to be super sexy. It's not a new opportunity. However, if people are driving a car and all of a sudden there's like this electric car, which is like a completely new opportunity, like old are the, you know, the gasoline cars, but now there's like an electric car that is like positioned as a new opportunity. It's like, wow, there's a new way to actually solve this problem, and it's with an electric car. It's way faster with like all these other sexy things, right? So how do you explain your product in a way so that it's a new opportunity? Again, this is not related to just going viral at all. This is about how to actually capture the attention of the market and get people ready to engage with you, but also to then become a customer of you. This is going to make night and day difference. And that is why I want to point out this very thing first. So then, once you got a clear view of like, this is what my actual how I'm going to position my product all the way at the end to actually sell it, then it's like, how do you prepare the actual incentive? What are you going to be able to give away? Just like I did, it's like on top of these 3 videos, what is it you're going to be able to give away to your audience in order to get them to start sharing with their friends? So what would add to those videos that you're going to record, the 3 videos that I'm going to go into in a little bit to explain in more detail what to say in those videos? What would be good that goes along with that, right? So again, something that it has to have a real value, but you have to be able to give that away for free. So it has to be something digital, right? This could be a video, this could be a tool, this could be an online calculator, this could be an ebook, this could be certain particular information. This could even be, for example, a small community, like, hey, you'll be part of like our Discord group or our WhatsApp group, like VIP group, something along those lines, right? But it has to be something that doesn't cost you extra money, but it is valuable to them, right? So again, like as an example, a Ford video with like a secret strategy or a tool or a calculator, or even a book, for example. Like maybe you have a book that you already have that normally people have to pay for, but you can give away a digital version for free if they actually share, right? So that's another way to be used as an incentive, right? And once you've done that, once you are clear on your product positioning and you are clear on what your incentive is going to be, then it's time to create those launch videos. And this is a bit more in depth. Let me just go for that. Again, 3 videos. There's going to be 3 videos to be created in this sequence. And obviously you can customize that. You can modify it. If you're like, hey, I don't want to do 3 videos. I want to do 2 or 1. You could do that, but I highly recommend to consider 3 because there's a certain way these are being recorded, and there's a certain way this actually gets people from like not knowing who you are, not knowing what problem you're solving, all the way to like being an advocate, being completely in on whatever it is you're selling, because you provided so much value, they believe in it, and they're just ready to buy. And you'll see throughout these videos how we're actually going to establish that. So the very first video that you're going to create is essentially where you're going to introduce people whatever the opportunity is. So you have a new opportunity to a certain problem you're solving. You're literally talking about like, hey, you're using whatever you're going to sell later on. You don't mention what you're going to sell, but you mentioned you have a problem. You have a solution to a certain problem. For example, in the example I just shared, I wasn't going to tell people like, hey, I've got a tool coming up to get leads from Facebook. No, I told them about, hey, in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can get leads from Facebook with 2 clicks. So I told them what was actually possible. You could also talk about the actual result of what it is you're doing. Maybe you got a SaaS or a piece of, or maybe a course coming up where you teach people, how to spend only 10% of their time on something that normally takes 10 times as much, right? Like I'm gonna show you how to manage profitable Facebook ads in like 30 minutes a day or less, or like whatever it is. But you lead with whatever your actual promise is. What is it that you're actually promised to deliver, right? So that is something that you're going to start out with, because you want to grab the attention. You want them to like, wow, like, is he? And then right away after you mention whatever your big promise is, people are going to be skeptical, as they should be. And that's obviously, you should always only go with big promises that you can actually fulfill, that you actually have proof for, right? So for example, you could say like how to do a certain outcome without a certain problem. This is a typical way of explaining problem, like how to, this a terrible example, but how to lose weight without any exercise. Obviously, that's not a good one, but you get a point. How to do a certain outcome, how to get a certain outcome without a certain pain, right? How to, in any market, you can come up with something like this. And so it's good to ask yourself, how will this new opportunity impact their life or business, right? Because again, it's about what it will do for them. So in that very first video, you're gonna make that big promise, and right after, you're gonna also position yourself. In essence, you wanna answer the question, why should they listen to you, right? Because they might not know you, and what's really important is that they immediately, like, they know why they should be listening to you. So if you have any credentials that you could share, anything that makes it clear that you're not just a nobody, but you actually know something about this, right? If you have won any awards, if you have served a certain amount of customers, if you've gotten the results for someone else, if you've, whatever it is, because usually there's things that you have got going for you that will make it clear that, hey, people need to listen to you, like you're actually credible source for this type of information. And then you're actually going to teach and deliver value, right? Very important. Like right after you share a big promise, you position yourself as you introduce yourself and you position yourself as the expert. You're going to actually teach people and deliver value, because that's key. You want to establish a relationship. And if you already can think of like objections that people are going to have, you want to raise those objections and cover them. For example, when I talk about Facebook ads, I could have said perhaps like, hey, and in case you're wondering, you need to have a large budget for this. You don't have to, because you can do this for like $5 a day, right? That might be an objection that people have, like, this is not for me because of this type of objection, this reason, this is not for me. So you want to mention that in your video, because that way, all the people who have that in their mind, like, I thought that, but apparently it's not true, right? So try to come up with a couple of objections that people might have and raise those, and then cover or answer those objections. And then we're going to actually sell them to the thing that you're going to have. So you provided your value, and then you're going to say like, hey, and by the way, we got this amazing other thing. You're essentially going to sell the thing that they're going to be able to give away for free, and you're going to explain how to get it. So right below this video, you'll see your own unique invite link. What they will do is like you can share that with your friends, and then whenever they sign up as well, they'll get access to the same video, right? What's cool is that we'll get track, and like as soon as 3 of your friends sign up, we'll send you this to your email address right away for free. And that, like, you try to influence people to start doing that. Don't push too hard, because again, it's about the relationship that you have with those people. That's more important at this point, because we're not just doing this to generate tons of leads. We're doing this to get people ready to actually buy your product or service, right? And obviously, ideally, you also make a hook to video number 2, some kind of a cliffhanger or something that you're already explaining, like, hey, in the next video, we're going to do this and that. So that people are like, hey, oh, wow, like, what's in the next video? I want to know what's in the next video, all right? So this is essentially the script of your first video. Your big promise, you position yourself, you teach and deliver value, and then you sell the actual freebie, and you make a hook to video number 2, which brings us to actual video number 2. And this video, right, in the first video, it was all about showing the big promise and the opportunity of like how this could be solved, right? This video is showing how you actually solve it, right? Or someone else, right? So the viewer would be looking at how you solve this problem, right? So what you would do in this particular video is you would recap video number 1. So, even if they missed it, they know about the opportunity and the problems you solve. But then you present like a case study, for example, because that acts as social proof, right? So in this particular case about Facebook ads, I would, in the first video, I would talk about like, this is a thing that I discovered and how well it works. And I would teach them what it is and all that, but I wouldn't actually be showing exactly how it works. But then in the second video, I'm going to say like, hey, I got a case study. Like, I'm going to show you how it works. I'm going to show you the stats on my screen, how well this works, how cheap the leads are. It's amazing, right? So that's what I'm going to do in the second video. I show them so they can experience what it's like to to solve that problem, right? That's really the key. Like, you have solved that problem for yourself or for another client, and you'll let them see over your shoulders what that's like, because they see that as value. They can learn something from it. Plus, it adds credibility that you have the solution, that you actually know how to actually resolve it, and that you've actually done that before. And again, if you have any objections that you think or fear might come up, mention those and answer those objections. And again, we're going to, quote unquote, sell the freebie and start sharing the campaign again. Again, in case you haven't shared it yet, right below you see the invite link. You also see how many people actually already shared. So all you need to do, share that to people who are also into Facebook ads, or like people who are also into whatever your industry is. And right away, like if only 3 people sign up, we'll send you an email and you'll get access to this, whatever it is you've got prepared for them, right? So again, first video, big opportunity. Second video, we prove that you actually have it while giving them an over-the-shoulder look of such a case study, or like that you actually solved that problem. And then we go into video number 3. And this is basically the ownership experience, how it would work for them. So the first one is the big promise. Second one is how you solve it, or how you use it, or how you have solved that problem. And this is how it would work for them, right? So it's always good to express excitement and gratitude. People have been watching all the way to the 3rd video. So like, just thank people, keep it engaged and keep it heartfelt, or like, hey, really amazing that you've been watching it. It's already the 3rd video. So, again, it's also about that connection with your audience. And essentially what this video is going to be about is that it's now time for them to solve this problem, or to leverage this opportunity, right? This is actually where you're going to introduce your solution and why you've created it. So you're not just going to say like, hey, here's a product that you need to buy, but essentially this is not even your hard pitch video, but it's essentially a video where it's like, hey, because like there's this amazing opportunity which we spoke about in video number 1. I already showed you in video number 2, and I needed, like, more people should have, like, no one should have this problem. I wanted to have this solved for more people, right? And therefore I created this solution, which is this product that we have, right? So suddenly you tell a story of like why you created it, and you introduce your solution, right? You add social proof if you already have people who've already been using it, or they have certain kind of results. You, right after you release or share about what it is you're going to sell, you're then going to add social proof. Like, hey, we already had beta testers using it, for example. James here, he used it and he got this and this results. If you do happen to have social proof, obviously. And if you do have it, it's more of a marketing thing. If, let's say, you have a special offer coming up for like just a few days, you already see the scarcity. What I mean with that is you already mentioned like, hey, because if you've been watching these videos, you're going to be, if you click on the button below, you'll be able to get this as a discount, but it's only available for like, the first 6 days. It's like the introduction offer. After that, the price goes up, and then the call to action, like click on the link down below. So what this essentially means is that during the first 2 videos, the real call to action to those people is to keep on sharing. And on the 3rd video, the call to action, you'll have to add a button at that point which links to your main sales page. But a lot of the selling has already been done in that case, right? Because they've been watching you for a couple of days. And at that point, a lot of them are like, they're pretty much ready. If that's a problem they actually have and they believe you can actually solve it, there's no reason why they wouldn't want to become a customer. And in the meantime, you've added this buzz around it from people sharing that at different places, getting more people into the world during this campaign. So once you've done all that, I know, again, this is quite a bit more work than some other campaigns. You've done your product positioning, you prepared your incentive, and you created your launch videos. That's when it's time to actually create your campaign inside of Vyral. So in terms of like what to put on your campaign, I would always recommend to start with a bold headline, which could be, for example, how to outcome without pain. Right? That's a very typical one. It's obviously, if you're more sophisticated, then you can go for a more sophisticated headline. But this is a templated headline that, if you're not as confident yet in writing copy, this is usually something that you can that's gonna be a good starting point to add to your page, along with a sub headline. For example, sign up for the free 3-part video series, or this free training video will show you XYZ. We'll show you how to get a certain outcome, enter your email address for instant access, along with an email form, and then a call to action button, get instant access. Get instant access. And optionally, right below, you could add some social proof or an about you, like who you are, at specific points on what they'll learn, right? So if you have specific points to treat their interest, these might be extra reasons to get people to like, hey, yeah, I really want to enter my email address and spend some time watching this video, because we're always trying, like everyone's busy, so we need to convince people and be really persuasive in order for them to actually start watching the videos and get them hooked into the first video, then the second, and then the third. So this is essentially what to put on your opt-in page. And then as for the video page, the page after that they see, which is the share page, you would again have some kind of a headline, what ideally is very much in line with what you had on your opt-in page, right? So if you're on your opt-in page, you say how to certain outcome without pain, then I would recommend to just say like video 1, how to blah blah without blah blah. Reason being is because they literally just opted in to get that very thing, right? Sometimes people make the mistake of like, they have a headline on the first page, people opt in because that's the thing they want, then they get to the second page and there's a different headline, and sometimes it just misses the mark, and it's like, people are like, oh, but that's not what I want. So by just reiterating what they already promised on the first page, how to blah blah without pain, and then on the second page, video, how to blah blah without pain, it's like, cool, this video is exactly how to do that thing that I was just promised. Because the goal is to get people to watch the video and actually get value from that video, right? Then you embed the video. This could be a simple YouTube video. It doesn't have to be, you can just have it on YouTube. And right below is an incentive to share. So just like I shared before, share this with your friends and get whatever it is for free, your incentive. We'll invite 3 of your friends to watch this video. You'll see it does it for free. Copy your unique invite link below or click on the buttons to share it. Sort of like in line with what I mentioned right here in the actual example from the previous launch, right? This text right here is usually a good text to get some inspiration from, all right? So, and then once it's all created, then it's time to what I call run the campaign. And this is more like a timeline. So on the very first day, what you do is you embed your very first video on the page, right? So on the share page, you'll have your very first video, and you then start promoting your opt-in page, whatever you already have in terms of an audience. Like if you have a social following, if you have an email list, if you're experienced at Facebook ads, you can run Facebook ads, whatever it is you can do, or try to get affiliates to promote it, whatever it is, try to get the attention towards that very page on day 1. If you do have an email list, I highly recommend, if you're by using UpViral, to send them directly to your video using the one-click sign-up link. So once you've created your campaign, you can actually send people straight into your video page without having to opt in again, right? So from your email list, you can send people straight into the video page, and they'll then still be able to share their unique invite link because it's automatically tracked who that person is. It's a really cool feature. Day 2, you don't change it. They'll still see that same video number 1. You just keep on promoting. So that video is there for 2 days. Then on day number 3, that's when you add the second video to the share page as well, because this gives you a reason to email everyone like, hey, video 2 is now live, go and watch that. Everyone who's watched video number 1, they now get an email like, hey, watch the video number 2. The day after, you keep promoting it. So you send another email out to everyone like, hey, in case you didn't watch the second video yet, go and watch it right now. Again, you want to promote as much as possible to get people to watch that video. And day number 5, that's when you add your video number 3 on the page with a link or a button towards your sales page, right? So they can still watch all 3 videos, but the video number 3 is the main one you want to promote. You want to put that on top. People watch that, and there's a big button towards your actual sales page. And from that point onwards, you just keep on promoting your sales page, right? If you have an offer, that's where you push all the traffic. But by doing this, you will have created like a lot of goodwill. You will have created a lot of excitement in the market, right? Right before you actually go live. And then, boom, sales will come and flow in to your actual campaign promotion. And that is essentially what the viral product launch is all about. As mentioned, it's definitely more of a there's more work involved. It requires a higher level of skill. So this is not for everyone. This is for those who are a bit more advanced inside on the marketing side of things, who are willing to invest their time, and you have a new product or new business they're about to launch, and they want to do everything within their power to not just build their email list, not just create excitement, but to actually drive a lot of sales towards your product or business as well. So that is essentially what the viral product launch is all about. Any questions in the chat? I need to jump up and down because let's all. I cannot see you, but at least I'll pretend if you actually do it. Like, do with me, like something along this line, because we've been sitting here for like an hour and a half. You guys been sitting, maybe I'm standing, and I know just like for me, after a while, just like I'll just get sloppy. So if that's you, keep the energy up. All right. Cool. What software do you use to have the last video unlocked after they share? Any guesses what that would be? Let me just see if I can. Any guesses what that in the chat? My Mac is super slow, trying to share something. Hopefully it will work. That answer to that question is all viral. Like everything I'm talking about can and should be done using a viral. So the way you would do that, right? So I'm just going to open up. My laptop is really slow because I'm streaming everything live. So please do bear with me. So essentially, all you need to do is, once you've created your viral campaign, because all of this can be done and should be done using a viral. Oh man, my laptop is making sound as if it's going to be a helicopter and flying up right now. So let me just, hopefully it will start to work. So the way you would do that inside of viral is it working now? It's really slow. You would add your incentive here. So for example, you would say, I'm trying to scroll down. You would add an incentive, right? You could either have a link to your URL where you add a link to your video, or you could even just say other, right? If my laptop would work. This is why I don't do a lot of screen sharing on the live stream, because it is, for some reason, my Mac is really slow. I'll just do it without the screen share, and I can explain it from top of mind. What I was going to say is you would add a reward, right? So for example, after 3 people unlock it, and then in your email notifications, you will just set up an automated email notification. As soon as people unlock it, send them this email. So the email would say something along the lines of, hey, you did it. Thank you so much for sharing this with all of your friends. Here's the video that I promised you with a link to the YouTube URL. Make sure it's unlisted so it's not publicly visible. And then that way people, they automatically get the reward that they've been promised. A viral handles all of that for you, all right? Good question. How does adding the video work on day 1, 3, and 5 and people visit it later because of the viral loop? So what my recommendation would be is to just add them on top of each other. There's obviously different ways of doing it, but I would just add them on top. So you would have one page. So essentially, if I were to, because my laptop is so slow, I'll just do it the old-fashioned way on the whiteboard. If this would be the page, right, on day 1 is like, here you have the video, right? So this is video number 1 with the text, and like this is the viral widget, right? A viral widget, like share that, etc. So what I would then do, like this is the first day, this is the second day, but then on the third day, you would swap this out with video number 2, and you would add a line of text here, for example, like missed missed the first video, scroll down or something along the lines. And then on the bottom of the page, you still embed video number 1 so that people, even if they watch this video, but in case anyone comes in here late and they miss the first video, they can just scroll down and they'll see the first video. Hopefully that will explain it. And the same applies for the third video. Exactly. Ryan and Orlan, obviously. Jeff. Yes, Jeff, I need a Mac. I got a really good Mac, but this is in my studio. I got an old laptop Mac, a MacBook Pro actually. I don't know, it's just too slow. So I'm waiting for a new M1 or M2 Mac to swap it all out. So what can you say? Apple nerd. Any other questions or anything like that? Because if I were to go back to my slides, can I go back to my slides? To my iPad, I have to say. There we go. So what we so far covered, right? We covered the introduction. But in terms of strategies, we spoke about the viral waiting list and a viral product launch, 2 strategies, both before you actually start a certain product. And then tomorrow and the day after, we're going to dive into the other ones, right? So tomorrow we're going to go sweepstake, milestone, and the day after the newsletter. So again, this was the longest session of the 3. Tomorrow it will be slightly shorter. There's going to be more time for Q&A as well, and the viral newsletter on Thursday. So even more time for questions and answers. So if there's any questions right now, please drop them in the chat. I got a couple minutes before we're going to bounce, and I'll see you then all tomorrow. And if I missed any of your questions, that's not on purpose. So, the next couple of days, we can definitely catch up on that as well. So let me just go back to the chat. Is there a case study for in a viral for the product launch and a campaign maybe? Yes, there is actually. I believe the Connect Leads, if you look for that, I believe it's on viral.com/. I need to check that actually if it's on the website. It's definitely inside your members area on the case study section. There's I've done a pretty much in-depth case study on this very launch I was just talking about. So that can be used as another example. I'm just checking if yeah, it's also on a viral.com/case studies, but I believe there's a video inside. Yes, if you go to a viral.com/case studies, you search for Connect Leads, you'll find a case study on our blog, but I'm not sure if it includes a video. It does include, it is a video, yes. Yeah, so viral.com/case studies, search for Connect Leads, and you will find it. Yes, I will do better than that actually. I will do better than just the notes. What I'm gonna do, this is gonna be sent out after all the 3-day events, is this whole mind map that I have right here. I'm going to send it to you guys in a dynamic way, and that means that you can literally just go in and just open up every section that you want and just browse through. So all of that will be available to you. Like I didn't just want to create a simple version. Like it's going to be dynamic because I'm probably nerd like that. So we're going to send that to all of you as well. If when I mention the links, we'll send that over to you guys as well. So that's all going to be prepped after the 3-day event. Might be next week when we send it out, because probably obviously the recordings are going to take a bit longer because we're all going to professionally edit it and all that. So you get it once it's ready. Again, we're sending it out to all customers as all of you are. So we got Michael in the house as well. Funny story. Like obviously we're all from different parts of the world. Michael and I, he's actually from the Netherlands as well. And how long has it been since we've met for the first time? I think like 10 or 15 years ago. We've been friends even before I launched the Viral, which is pretty cool. So thank you for being here. I appreciate that. You're most welcome. You're most welcome. And with that, I will see you tomorrow. But if there's anything, like if there's one thing that I would be able to if there's one thing that you could all help me with. You don't have to, but just I'm going to leave this with you guys in case you want to do something awesome and friendly. Because one of the things we what we were working on. One of the things, a big thing that we were working on is like why I'm standing here is because I want more people to grow their business using word of mouth, because I've seen the impact it has. Like you'll see more case studies over the next couple of days of people of literally transform their business using word of mouth, and more people should have that luxury of like adding way more eyeballs to their business on top of what all the other channels, right? And just growing their bottom line. And in order to do that, obviously people are researching online, what is a viral. When people get to hear about us, like you already know it, like you're already a customer, which I appreciate. But a lot of people out on the outside world, they don't know about us yet, right? And one of the things that people do is they look for reviews. So if you're right here and you're like, hey, these are viral guys, they're pretty cool, then what would be really amazing is if you could search for, like if you were to go to Google and you search for Capterra UpViral, right? And if you search for that, Capterra UpViral, if you think you're gonna forget it, the name, like just make a picture right now. And if you were to leave an honest review on Capterra, that would be amazing. Right now, we got 25 people already written a review. It would be amazing if you could write a testimonial. So I'll check tomorrow if I see anyone has added it. I really, really would appreciate it. Again, no stress or like no pressure, but that's something that would help us a lot. And I'm glad you all like it. Kid, Sean, Shinil, Dansa, Mohamed, awesome. Really appreciate it. And thank you for my team to share the actual case study for Connected. I highly recommend that to watch that as well. Cool, and I definitely will. Again, just awesome to be here, even though it's digital, and like, I would love it to have you all here in the room. Even though it's digital, it's to be just awesome to be in the room here with all of you here, with all of our customers, and the ones that actually show up are the ones that actually make the biggest impact. So with that, I'll see you all tomorrow. Again, same time as today. We start at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is my 4 p.m. Make sure you have your notes ready, because again, we're gonna go through a lot of awesome stuff and different type of campaigns to, so you can then pick which one is most suitable for you. And with that, I want to wish you all an amazing day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.